you'll have to figure that on your own. But I do want to ask, are you being priced out of the hobby? I think obviously we saw the prices of the J&D Joker. We have now the prices for this with the cheapest pack starting at 12.92. I think one, I don't recall who said this, but it's not a character that you vibe with. But I can't imagine if this was a 4 pack Gandalf or a 2 pack Gandalf at 12.92 and 17.78 respectively, or maybe for Dean a Cloud figure, something that is your most treasured character, and it obviously, Marco, we are very privileged to be here talking about buying $1,292 toys when a lot of people are struggling, and obviously that has its own time and place for that discussion. But I feel like if this shit's gonna cost this much, like, I'm either just gonna have to be fine with not getting the very best stuff or not be able to afford this. I mean, it seems like, back when I first started, it was like the sideshow and the Hot Toys figures was the more expensive, the more reasonable stuff, and then statues were like, damn, that's way out of my league. Now I feel like you can get most entry level statues for less than the price that some of these figures are costing. And granted, those aren't apples to apples, but it certainly makes me reconsider like what my collecting goals are. Do I need to have the best of everything? Am I willing to settle for less quality? It's definitely something to think about. Dean, if this was a character that you really loved, offering those two price points for a 2 and a 4 pack, are you priced out?
Um, I think I would be. I just got the Game Toys Cloud with the motorcycle, and that was $650. And when that invoice came in, dude, I was like, fuck, like that's a tough nut to swallow. And that's a nut I really want. you know?
Damn.
Wow.
Um
Pause.
no, don't pause. That's why I said it.
Wow. Now,
So
160 is not to saying that he was not charged taxes, so I'm not sure if those are due on delivery or just perhaps not at all. It's all very confusing stuff, to be honest.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, I got that quarter or the third scale punchline statue for what, $1,300, and that's a fucking huge piece, like a centerpiece of the collection. I guess this is, but like you said, like a whole detox worth of characters, the same character over and over. I don't know. It's like I said, you gotta fucking love this to be like, yeah, I'll spend that kind of money. I think the 2 pack makes a little more sense, but even that's like, I don't know. I can't answer that until I see something that I can't live without. I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to, right? If it's something that you are extremely passionate about, we always say, because one of my favorite podcasts is the Afford Anything podcast, and her catchphrase is, you can afford anything, you just can't afford everything. And so there's always those opportunity costs. So I feel like if this was, let's say, a Bale Batman 4 pack, because Eddie said the Joker before, right? It had Begins, it had Dark Knight, it had an Armory, and it had Bruce Wayne, and that was like $2,000. You better believe that I'm finding a way to get that, right? And I can bitch and moan about high increased prices and like how expensive things are, but I'm gonna find a way to cut other figures or cut other things that I wanted to buy in my life in order to, again, Zach, you're right. It's all about privilege, right? Because we're very privileged to be able to be in this hobby. But I'm going to find a way to get that. And so for this one, I just don't feel like I have the desire to make those sacrifices for this, because the price is high. Like for the Ledger 2 pack, that gave me a lot of heartburn, spending $1,100 on two figures that are like kind of very similar. And
Mm-hmm.
so, this is we've already been conditioned, like Ben says, I've been price conditioned to already spend $1,100. So what's, a few hundred more? And I just don't find myself wanting to do it on this one. Although it's tempting, I just am not there. So not priced out, but definitely feeling the pain of these prices for sure.
Yeah, and I was saying, like, I really love this movie, but and if they would have, if Hot Toys or somebody would have released something closer to when this came out, I probably would have wanted to get it. But even then, if it was 600, if they were selling these individually and they were $600 a figure, if every figure becomes $600, then yeah, I'm priced out. If Hot Toys goes the direction of, we've seen a little bit trending down in pricing, and if they stick around that, what, 260, 280, and then with Hano Toys coming in, I would say that's the direction I would have to go, just because it would have to be someone a very special character, and I don't know, even then, I don't know, $600 is a lot, like the Gandalf I'm getting, but I feel like he's a special character versus this just isn't as timeless right now. But again, if every figure becomes that price, then yeah. But if Hot Toys keeps doing their thing, I can keep the payment plans. That's my thing. So
That's why I kind of like the 4-pack, because if you split up the 4-pack, then it's closer to like 450 a figure,
yeah, I was
which
thinking
makes
that.
it
Yeah.
more tolerable. It's hard to say the argument versus the statues and this specific release, because I've been contemplating that too, because there's a Prime 1 statue of this that isn't holding its value, but it's a very good statue and it's a perfect scene for me. So I'm like, is that more worth it? Because I can get that for cheaper than the 2-pack now. I think even at, well, not at retail it wasn't, but it was close.
1/3 scale.
Yeah, 1/3 scale.
Wow.
So that's crazy. But I think the thing that concerns me most with these prices is that they aren't holding. Nothing is holding those prices, which that back in the day, you used to argue with John a lot about whether things should hold their value or not. And I always was like, no, you take that bet, you take that gamble, and you're not buying for investment. But it's hard to be a collectible that loses value, especially when you're like paying $1,700. Like if I'm paying $300 for a hot toy, it's a little bit easier to say like, oh, it didn't hold its value. But $1,700.
That was a hell of a point by Eddie, but I'm glad that you didn't give him points. No more points for Eddie.
It's okay. I got 5 for the thing earlier.
So for that though, I guess you're comparing it to the Joker, right? Because I think you're able to get a little bit below retail at the moment. Correct?
Not just that. I'm saying things in general. Yes, that, and I know the specific complications that had to not hold its value. But I mean, there's a ton of statues, most statues right now, even customs
it's a bad
aren't
market
holding
for statues.
And I think it's a bad market for 6 scale. I don't know any. So the thing with Inart
Gandalf
though is we
probably
don't.
the
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say,
right.
that's the only pushback I would have.
But-
is Gandalf is ridiculous right now.
Also, it's
And the
people
Mark
still don't have it yet.
III.
So I feel like
People don't
when
have
that
it.
hype dies, will that hold?
And I would say also to that point, Eddie, is I think that a character like the Joker, like as much as I love Lord of the Rings and as much as I think it is truly one of the biggest franchises ever, I think the number of, like, if you polled 1,000 collectors, I think there are way more people that would buy a Joker than would buy a Gandalf. And what I'm seeing in the groups are people saying that, like, crap, I didn't even think I would be interested, and I saw how good it came out, and now I need to have one. I think that's where that value's coming from. Whereas Joker, I think because we hadn't had a high-end version in a long time, it really, I don't remember the numbers, Marco, but it was something like over 10,000 of I believe it was the 2-packs. It was a huge number that they made. So I don't know if the Gandalf
I think he said
was a
closer
smaller,
to 15 for the
Yeah.
Joker specifically.
yeah, and I don't know if Gandalf was more or less than that, but it seems like now there's a much higher FOMO for the Gandalf. I think it may have been a smaller pre-order, and we know for sure that Pennywise was. So yeah, that would be my only pushback to that, Eddie. But yeah, absolutely. I've seen, Dean, in San Antonio, there's been probably 5 or 6 Inart 2-packs, both the rooted and the sculpted, that have gone up, and God, they're probably like $300-$400 for the rooted, and probably about $200 less for the sculpted. There were some pretty, I mean, I think like $250 for the single pack sculpted, like some pretty significant deals that you could find there for a little bit.
Gare Bear says, I have to have the 4-pack even though I only want 3 of these figures. I feel like
And to
that's the
that
sentiment for a lot
point-
of folks.
To that point, Kit, I don't know if this was purely a speculative post, but he had asked if there were people that would only be interested in certain Jokers, and it seemed like that post had got quite a bit of traction. So I'm not sure the logistics behind how he would separate those, if he did, or if it was more just like a discussion post. But if you're someone that, hey, I only want the bathroom scene, or I only want the opening look scene, or I only want, any of the looks, that may be an option as well that Kit might be able to provide. But,
The least
again, at this point,
desirable,
it's very early.
the least desirable has to be the outfit
clown.
one, right? The clown.
Yeah,
one
for
with-
the opening
like
scene,
with
yeah.
the nurse.
And I think on the flip side of that, the red
or
suit, I
doctor
think,
suit.
is probably the most desirable,
yes.
in my opinion.
This is an interesting question because since I've been collecting 6 scale, I feel like what I thought was affordable and what I thought my line for priced out has consistently moved and moved and moved, and I've been lucky with work and fortunate that way, but things change for people really quickly, and it's getting to the point with collecting 6 scale that you actually do take a bit of a risk potentially financially if you make these purchases and then anything in your life changes. I always advocate make sure you save a little money first, spend a little money, right? Treat yourself, definitely, but make sure you're saving money these days because the economy is really tough, not only for just collecting but just for people in general being able to put food on the table. Like, I went to the grocery store the other day, I couldn't believe how expensive things have gotten. And all of these types of commodity based products, everything that requires material goods is going up. So it's expected that prices will change. When I got into 1/6 scale, one of the reasons I liked it so much was because the price point felt premium. It meant that not everybody could get them. So I had something, that was a little bit different, but it wasn't so expensive that it made me think about what else I could get for the money. And I feel like lately 6 scale is getting to that point where it makes me wonder, like, geez, for $1,700, like, what else could I get for $1,700? What vacation could I go on? Where in the world could I visit my friends? Like, all of a sudden, like, that kind of dollar amount isn't just a tough nut to swallow anymore. It's literally a justification to, like, represent a character in your collection or 4 characters in your collection when there's so much more in life that you could potentially do. Now, you could relate that to anything within your 6 scale display, right? We could all say if we never collected 6 scale, we could go on more vacations. Sure, but it's getting to the point now where, as I said, it puts you at a higher risk if something changes in your life, if you don't have savings in the bank. And like, if you even have a life event like Badfish, you have a little one, right? I don't have any kids, so for right now, I'm the only mouth I need to feed. Would I be priced out tomorrow if suddenly I had, knock on wood, knock on wood, a baby to worry about? Yeah.
Wow.
I definitely, knock
Oh.
on wood, I'm just saying, knock on wood. Okay. Would I be priced out? Yeah, probably, because there's no way.
I thought you
there's
told them to
zero
swallow the
chance.
nuts.
Oh my god. There's 0 chance.
What did he say?
Give
You
this
guys-
man a point.
Wow.
Oh
You
my
guys know what
god.
I'm saying.
Wow.
Daddy, chill.
That's what Ben's kids would be saying when they see him buying 4-pack Jokers.
Oh my god.
Now, I mean, the other way this collecting game has changed is when I first started, people would get one to rock, one to stock, right? These prices are getting to the point now where this doesn't make even any sense. Both for what Eddie's point was of these things aren't retaining their value the same way they were or growing in value. So it doesn't make much sense to just stock one anymore. But, like, can you imagine the financial capital you have to be able to buy 2 of these just to have one in the closet, like our friend John used to have with his collections? Like, that is mind-boggling. And so because the collection game has changed so dramatically, now I think most of us who are still in this game and who aren't burned out by pricing have to be more specific about what they put in. One of the best compliments I felt like I received on my collection tour recently was people said, wow, like, your collection has a lot of unique pieces, but, like, it's curated. Clearly we can tell what you like, what you're into. It's not just what everybody can buy. And I'm excited to see people's collections over time start to evolve that way. If prices are going to continue to go up, I also think it means that our displays will look a little more custom. Those collection tours will be more interesting to watch because we won't all have the same figures anymore. Everything will be a little different. So I like the trajectory, but it also does make me a little nervous for even my own self in the collecting. We all have to admit here, every single show, every single Tuesday, when we like something but can't justify it because the cost or because we don't have the space or whatever it is, I think the days of collecting everything, for most people anyways, are gone.
Completely agree.
To Ben's point, lately it's getting easier for me to not buy stuff. It's getting
That's why I
easier
only
for
have
me to
5 Hot
like
Toys.
to not. Yeah, well,
You have
I'm
5
trying to
this
be
week?
smarter, but I mean, like, lately, as in like the last month. It's
No,
been
me.
easier.
It's always the joke that I only have 5. I
Oh.
have 9 now, guys.
I bought a lot. and
Believe it or
it's
not.
this last month I've realized like I can say no easier. Someone said the other day like you have to be not responsible, but I forgot what he said. But
Responsible
anyway,
wasn't the one.
I've been-
That's
I've
no,
been
it was
saying-
something else. You
I'm,
have
I'm
to,
with you there.
but
I've been-
anyway,
I've been a bit
like that's why I
discerning.
didn't just. I could have just dropped the NRD on this, but like I was like,
Yeah.
no, I got stuff on pre-order. You know, I'll wait and I got to pay off some stuff. So like, it's getting easier for me to say no, and the FOMO is kind of going away.
There you go. 73% of our chat said no to buying this Joker. Yeah, I had the same thing the other day, Eddie. I was at Target, sort of the quest complete from earlier. I've been wanting to see the Civil War Marvel Legends Mark 46 in person. I passed on the Hot Toys one. And I saw it and I was like, I really want this, but there's some stuff I need to buy for BB's computer. Like, I kind of just started thinking, like, what things I need to be responsible to purchase for. And I was like, I really don't want to spend $25 on this right now. It's almost $30 after tax. Like, that's just, like, not what I need to be buying right now. And a very rare pass on a Target run for me. So, anyone else want to chime in on that? Are you being priced out? If not, we'll move on.
I guess the only thing that I would have asked you guys is like clearly this is the first time I think that we're seeing the RH logo on the Inart box. The first time that I think it's the rhodium.
The Rhodium, which is the top
level,
top tier.
top
yeah.
tier, right? I think it's interesting that they didn't, at least as of right now, give us a lower cost sculpted option of this. That they've gone straight
And I
to
think
rooted,
that's
and you
why,
get
though.
rooted or you don't. Like that's you take it or leave it.
Yeah.
And I think
And I think-
in terms of the priced out question though, that might have made this easier for people to consider with the sculpted version versus rooted. Not everybody wants rooted. It's a big it's a big
But I
commitment.
think that is part of what the chat and I guess John were saying, right? Like the licensor required this to be above a certain price point, and I don't know that
Sculpted
they were
would
able to
justify
offer
it.
that. Yeah, that cheaper option. So
That makes
is
sense.
that to definitively say that this property is not for children? Like it is just priced at such a luxury that it is not for kids at all. I wonder if
movie-
that's like the
I
rationale.
don't think so.
The movie was
Yeah, I
rated
don't know.
R, right?
I don't know if it's actor
For sure.
likeness thing or the
Backwards.
actor requiring that, or if it's because of how like mentally ill the dude is in the movie. Is like, should we really be making collectibles of this? I don't know if that's why.
Well, for what it's worth, the 2021 Suicide Squad was also rated R, and we did see figures from that. So, I don't know if that's the reason, Marco, but apparently at some point in time, Joaquin Phoenix said this folk story that he only wants expensive figures, but I've never heard of that. So, let's see. So, Kit put up a post on I think it was Saturday.